Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this attack right here. And we're also going to be adding ragdolls to our game. And we're also going to be restructuring the project so that it's a lot cleaner and way more modular and just way better to look at. Before this video starts, if you guys want to support me and want to have access to all of my project files, including the one you're watching right now, they will all be available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to go to starter player, starter character scripts, and we're going to add a local script. Because what we're going to do is we're going to restructure our project so that it's a lot cleaner and way more organized. So we're going to call it client, character client, and what we're going to do is we'll add a module script to this, and we'll call it loaded modules. And we're going to enter our loaded modules, and we're going to just type in return and an empty table. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to character client, the local script. And what we're going to do is we're going to require the module under it. So local loaded modules equals require script.loaded modules. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to loop through every single module script that's that's a descendant of this character client script. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert it to this loaded modules table so that it's accessible from other scripts. And also I'll show you how we're going to do that. And we'll also have an init function, which we're going to call if the module has it. Okay, so what we're going to do is after requiring the loaded modules module, what we're going to do is we're going to loop through every single descendant for underscore comma descendant in loaded modules. In script colon get descendant, and what we're going to do is if descendant dot class name is not equal to module script, then we're going to continue. So if it is not a module script, then we're just going to continue and move on to the next descendant. If it is though, then we'll require it. So local required module equals require descendant. Now what we're going to do is we're going to insert it to this table right here. So the way we're going to do that is loaded modules, square brackets, descendant.name equals required module. Okay, so now that we have required every single module and added it to that table, what we need to do is loop through them again. So for underscore comma module in loaded modules this time, not script colon get descendants, and we're going to check if it has a table called modules. So if type module dot modules equals table, then what we're going to do is module dot modules equals loaded modules. And what we're going to do now, by the way, this will make sense when we have a template module, so don't worry about it if you don't understand it now. And the next thing we need to do is to loop through those modules again. So for underscore comma module in loaded modules, and what we're going to do is check if it has a function called init, which stands for initiate. So if type module.init equals function, so if it has a function called init, then what we're going to do is we're going to call it so module.init. And what we're going to do now is I think that's it for our script. And what we're going to do now is make this entire game work. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take these scripts and I'm going to turn them into modules. So I'm going to add a module script and I'm going to call it attacks input controller. But before that, I'm going to have a couple of folders inside this. Now, the first one is going to be called modules. The second one is going to be called controllers. The third one is going to be scripts. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the attacks input controller inside of the controllers inside of the controllers folder. And what I'm going to do now is enter our special attacks input handler script, and we're going to turn this into a module. So we're going to copy all of this and we're going to paste it here, not here, inside here. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all of these services, and I'm going to put them on top of the module. And then we will get all of these. So I'm just going to copy all of this, I think. And then what we're going to do is fix this up. So as you can see, right now the character is going to have to be equal to script dot parent dot parent dot parent, and the player I think is fine, and the player GUI, that's fine, the attacks, that's fine, the attack template, not fine. We need to get this and put it here. Make sure you did that. Take the attack template from that and put it there. And the shared modules, do we still have that? Okay, so that's fine. You can still have them. And equipped character name, I think that's good enough. Okay, and what we're gonna do now is we will make an init function. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to create a function called module.init, and I'm going to connect all these events in here. So I'm just going to create a function, local function, input began, and in here I'm going to take the input and the game processed event, and we're going to copy everything in here, and we're going to paste it there. Now we will just copy this line of code. I know this is confusing. I'm sorry if it's too confusing, but you just have to pay attention. And what we're going to do here is colon connect, and we're going to do input began. Now we need to connect this event. So we're going to do a local function, equip character client, and that's going to take the character data. And we'll just copy all of this, paste it there. And now we'll copy the top line of code, delete all of this, and paste it here. Now we're going to connect it to the equip character client event function, sorry. And now let's see what we have. Use special attack. What is that? So that just, okay, I guess that's fine. What we need to do now is to get all these character attacks and put them inside of the character client. So just take them and put them here. And here's what I'm going to do. I think it should go in controllers. So that's what I'm going to do. And let's see. So we have the hunter, the fireball. Okay, so then we also have special attacks input handler, which we're going to get rid of because we already have the new one. And the fireball, which I think is fine if you want to keep it a script. But we're not going to be worrying too much about that for now. We're just going to make the click attacks work. So I'm going to get the click attacks and put them in the controllers folder. And I'm going to add a new module script. And I'm going to call it click attacks. Okay. So we're going to go back to this click attack script. And we're just going to turn that into a module. So we need all of these right here. And this time, script.parent.parent.parent is going to be the character. This blocking is going to be false. And we need an init function. So function module.init. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to check something real quick. Okay, we're fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these events. So I need an input began function again. So local function input began. And then we also need the input and the game processed event. Then what we need to do is to copy this, paste it here. And now we also need a new one. So we need one for input ended. So local function input ended, and it's going to be the input and the game processed event. Actually, no game processed event. I don't think so. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this without the game processed event part. And I think that's all we need to do. Now I'm going to connect these events. So where's it going to do that? So user input service dot input begin colon connect input began, and user input service dot input ended colon connect input ended. Okay. So what we need to do now is, I think that's all we need to do here. Okay, so now I'm going to enter. I'm going to deal with the character attacks folder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the click attacks a local script, not module script, and I'm going to enter this fireball script in the hunter, and we're going to need to fix up the character. So this time it's going to be script.parent so script.parent.parent.parent.parent.parent, and that's going to be the character. This looks kind of ugly, so that's why we're just going to do the character to be equal to player.character. And we can make this a little cleaner by getting the players service, or yeah, I guess we could do that. Get service players, and we can do players.local player. And I think we do not need a wait for child here. We can just do .tween fireball size, and I think we should be fine now. So what I'm going to do now is get rid of the default attacks folder, and I'm going to play the game and see if this works. Okay, this is taking way too long to load. Okay, so now I'm going to click, and as you can see, everything still works just fine. So let's see if the fireball still, oh, sorry. Let's see if the fireball still works. Okay, it does. Okay, so we didn't break anything. And now that I think about it, I think the character attacks folder should go in the scripts folder. And in here we can have all of these. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to, okay. I'm going to do the same thing for the server. I'm going to add a script. I'm going to call it server. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this character client script. And we're going to copy it. We're going to paste it all here. And now we're going to copy the loaded modules module. And we're going to paste it inside of the server script. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to, why is this not working? Why is it giving me the orange line here? Let's start to re-enter the script and see if it's still there. Okay, it's fixed. Okay, so what we need to do is make all of this work and modular. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep profile manager here. Okay, I think I know what to do. I'm going to add a folder again. I'm going to call it services or handlers. Let's call it handlers. And I'm going to add another folder. I'm going to call it scripts. And then we're going to have another folder, and it's going to be called modules. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get our attacks hitboxes module, and we're going to put it here. And we're going to get our profile service module, and we're going to put it here. And then we're going to get our profile manager module, and we're going to put it in the handlers folder. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to enter my profile manager script, and I'm going to show you how this works. So as you can see, we can't access profile service like this, and I'll show you why I did all of that. It is just so we can access modules without having to require them every time. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to leave the profile template there, but I'm going to Control X the profile service thing over here, and I'm going to do a local profile service, and we're going to set it to nil for now. So it's going to be equal to nothing, and I'm also going to have a module.modules table, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a function called module.init, and what we're going to do here is copy everything in here and paste it here. So make sure that you copied everything starting from for_ConPlayer to this player to the end of the player removing event, and I think that should work. And what we're going to do in here is we're going to set profile service to be equal to module.modules.profile service, and that's how we can access every single module in the entire that's inside this script right here without any problems. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, okay, I think profile manager is good. Yeah, definitely. Now I'm going to enter server attack handler and attack hitboxes. Do I need to change something in here? And why do I have the profile? Oh, okay. So we do need to change something here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove this profile manager thing again. And I'm going to do local profile manager equals, I'm just going to do local profile manager. And then I'm going to do module.modules equals, and I'm going to do an empty table. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do module.modules.profile manager.profile square brackets player. And I think this should work because now we can get the profile, and I think that's all we need profile manager for. Okay, so now we need to enter, what do we need to enter? I think it's server attack handler now. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to enter it and read it, and I'll tell you where we're going to put it and what to do with it. Okay, so I thought about it, and I think we should split this into two modules. So the first one is going to be in handlers, of course, and I'm going to add a module script, and I'm going to call it basic attack handler. Basic attacks handler. Okay, so now we need another one, and we're going to call it character handler. Or characters handler. I think character handler is better. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. In the basic attacks handler, we need to enter our attacks handler script, and we're going to get some of the references and the events. So I'm going to copy all of this and paste it here in the basic attacks handler. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove attack hitboxes, and I'm going to remove okay, I think this is fine, character configurations, but I think we could make this cleaner if we just do this. Local shared modules equals replicated storage dot shared modules, and local configurations equals shared modules dot configurations. And in here we could have just done configurations dot character configurations. Okay, so now local attack hitboxes is going to go here, and we're going to do module.modules equals an empty table, and what we're going to do is function module.init, and we're going to do attack hitboxes equals module.modules.attack hitboxes. Okay, and what we need to do now is to connect some events. So I'm going to go back to server attack handler, and I think I need to do this. Okay, so we're gonna have an event, a function called click attack, local function basic punch, I think should be called basic punch, and what we're gonna do, we can call it basic click punch to be more exact. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy everything in the click attacks event, Control X, and paste it here. And now we need to go back here and copy all the arguments, which is just player. So we're just going to type in player. And now we need click debounces. So local click attack debounces equals an empty table. And I think that's all we need in here. We can go back here, and we need to copy this. And we're going to go back to the init function, and we're going to connect it to basic click punch. Okay, now we're gonna go back here and we'll make the block function. So local function block, and that of course takes the player. Oh, sorry. That will take the player, and we're gonna go back here and we're gonna copy everything here, paste it here, and as I have just noticed, it also takes a value, so we're gonna type that in as an argument. And what we're gonna do now is I'm going to first of all, I hate the way this looks, basic click punch. I hate how there are two C's in here, so I'm just going to do basic punch. Sorry, I'm going to rename this to basic punch. Okay, so all we have to do now is to connect that event. So events.block.onServe event connect. Go back here, and we're gonna connect it here, and we're gonna connect it to the block function. Okay, so now we need to get rid of all of this and this, and now we can connect the special attacks, but we're not gonna do that yet because that will be in another script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another module script, which is just going to be the basic attacks handler, but cloned, and we're gonna call it, oh, sorry, I forgot that we already created character handler, so you don't have to do that. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go back to basic attacks handler, and we're just gonna copy all of this, starting from module.modules all the way to replicated storage, paste that in here. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go back to server attack handler, the script, and we will have the player added function. And we also need an equip character function, which is going to be a module function. So module.equip, so function module.equip character, so that we can access it from other scripts, from other modules. So what we're going to do is this is going to, of course, take the player and the character name. And what we're going to paste in here is going to be everything in the equip character function. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go back here, and we'll just copy the player added and the players colon get players for loop, and we're going to paste it here. And we're not going to touch it yet. We're going to type in module.equip character here first, and then we're going to do function module.init, and then we're going to copy all of this and paste it here. Okay, so what we need to do now is actually I have no idea what we need to do yet, so I'm just going to close this script now. And I think I am missing something, which is the animations for the basic attacks handler. So what we need to do is to go to the animations folder over here, the punch animation cycle, and I'm going to paste it inside of basic attacks handler. And we also have the block animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a folder, and I'm just going to call it animations, and that's inside the basic attacks handler, by the way. And I'm just going to put the punch animation cycle inside of that folder, and I'm going to take the block animation and put it inside there too. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to enter the basic attacks handler module again, and I'm going to fix up some stuff here. So instead of script.punch animation cycle, it's going to be script.animations.punch animation cycle. And same thing here. It should be hashtag script.animations.punch animation cycle. And I think that's it for here. We're going to scroll down to the other function, and the block animation is going to be script.animations and it's going to be oh, okay, that's fine. Script.animations.block. I think that's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we will enter our server attacks handler again and see how we have this special attack thing. We're gonna have, okay, so now for our character attacks. So what we need to do is we're going to enter character handler, and I'm going to add in a folder called characters, and we're going to have a folder inside it. Actually, we can just take this folder right here called hunter, and we're going to put it inside it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the character handler module, and in here we need to connect an event or a remote function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter basic attacks handler, and no, not this basic attacks handler. We need to enter server attack handler. Sorry if this is getting too confusing. And I'm going to copy this events.specialattack.onServerInvoke. We're going to go back to character handler this time, and we'll paste that in here. But here's the catch. We need to create a function called special attack, and that will take the player and the attack number. And now we'll copy this, paste it there, and in here we're going to just set it to the special attack function. Okay, so now that we have all that set up, what we need to do is to test if this actually works. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the server attack handler and the server runtime script, and I'm also going to delete these folders, modules and services, and I'm going to play the game and see if everything still works just fine. Okay, so I'm not loaded yet. I don't know why I unpaused the video there. Okay, so I'm going to try to punch. Okay, nothing works. Let's see why. Requested module. Okay, so get profile store is not working. Okay, easy fix. We can just remove the profile store, and we can put it under profile. We're gonna set it until we set profile service. So we're gonna do it right here, local profile store, and then just copy this, whatever you set it equal to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and set profile store to whatever you copied. And what I also need to set is the profile template. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here and profile template. We don't need to require this module again. We can just set it to nil for now. And in here, down here, we're going to do profile template equals module.modules.profile template, because it will be there. Okay, so now we can play the game and see if that works. And as you can see, we have another error. Now let's see what's causing this error this time. Module is not a valid member of source script service. Okay. Okay, this time that's an easy fix. We can just enter here. And here's what we're gonna do. Attack hitboxes and character configurations is not working, so we need to set attack hitboxes to something. And the way we're gonna do that is by having module.modules equals to an empty table, of course, and local attack hitboxes, and we're gonna set it to nil. I don't know why I have this equal nil here. And we're gonna go down here and we're gonna do function module.init, and in the initiate function we're gonna do attack hitboxes equals module.modules.attack hitboxes. And now we can play the game. Okay, so this time we don't have any errors, I think. Okay, so this time I'm going to try to punch, and I am able to punch. Now I'm going to try to use an attack, and the fireball works. Okay, so now that we're at it, that fireball looks absolutely horrible. It's trash, so we need to change it and make a way better attack. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing we need is a nice pull animation. So here's what I have. I'm going to go to Avatar Animation Editor, and you click on a rig. If you don't have a rig, I'll show you how to get one. You go to the Avatar tab over here, and you go to Rig Builder, and then you click on R6 and block avatar, and you have yourself a rig that you can animate. So I'm going to go and click on the animation editor this time, and I'm going to click on this, and as you can see, I can animate my rig now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import my animation to show you how the animation should be made. So you can't see what I'm doing right now, but I am importing an animation. Okay, so I have it right here. Okay, so I have to be recording my entire screen for this, and here's how it works. So after making your animation, it has to be something like this. Now I am not an animator, so I am horrible at this, of course, but it's just the player stepping forwards, doing that with his hand, then pulling the other player. Okay, now I'll show you what you need to do to make sure that this animation is set up correctly. You need to first of all click on these three dots over here and go to set animation priority and make sure that it's set to action. That's very important. And then you're going to go to when the player is about to pull the other player, when the pull sound is supposed to play. And if you have a different sound, which we haven't reached yet, we don't have the sound yet, but basically that's when the pull sound is going to be playing when the player pulls the player. Now since my sound takes a couple of milliseconds before it plays, I put it before the player even pulls the player. But yeah, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna add an animation event. I'll show you how to do that. You go to when you want the player to pull the other player, so when you want the pull sound to play, and you right click and you click on add animation event here, and I want you to call it pull sound, exactly like this, and then you click save. Now when you do that, it should be created. And in here, when the player is really close to pulling the other player, is when we want the explosion to happen, a certain explosion, which I'll show you. You've probably seen it in the start of the video. But yeah, that's when we want the explosion to happen. So add animation event here again. Okay, I have to go here. Add animation event here, and then you add animation event and you call it explosion like this. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Then we need to publish our animation. So let me just recap again. Set animation priority, action, and then you go to when you want the pull sound to play, and you add an animation event there and you call it pull sound, and you go here to when you want the explosion to happen, and then you add an animation event and you call it explosion, and that's pretty much it. Now you go to the three dots again, publish to Roblox, override existing assets. No, I'm going to create a new animation clip, and you call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it pull animation, and then you just save it. And then when you do that, I'm going to just call it test. And when you do that, it should give you this ID, which you should copy. Now, when you copy this ID, make sure to have it copied, save it somewhere, send it to a chat or the notepad or anything like that. But for me, I'm just going to have a part, and I'm going to have it named that ID. And that's pretty much all you have to do. But as I said, I already have my animation, so I'm going to go get the ID of my animation right now. So if you guys can give me a second. Okay, I have my pull animation ID. It's this. And okay, so it has this RBX asset ID thing. Just ignore it. And yeah, okay. So now we need some particles. So here are the two particles that we're gonna need. I just need to put them here. So there's one here, and the explosion particle should be here. Okay, so I am not a VFX artist or anything like that, so my particles are horrible. But if you still want them, they're gonna be in the description. They're free. You can go get them from the toolbox, and when you get them, you go to the toolbox here, you go to inventory, and then you click on them, and then they should be in the workspace, both of them. So here's what we're gonna do. They're gonna look something like this. They're gonna be one single model, and they're two particles. So we have the aura particle, which is the aura that appears around the player when he is about to pull the other player. And then we have an explosion particle, which I really like. It took me quite a while to figure out how to make an actual explosion. So yeah, this is how it looks. And yeah, so we're going to be using these two particles. By the way, this is how the explosion looks on the ground, if you want to see how it looks like. So yeah, that's pretty much the particles. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep these two here for now, and we're going to go and enter our module script named 2. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get my aura particle and my explosion particle. I'm going to put both of them inside of the module script named 2. And then I'm going to get to create an animation. And I'm going to call it pull animation. Pull animation. And I'm going to set its ID to the ID that you set the part name to, or wherever you saved it. So just go pull animation, paste in the ID. And now what we need to do is to make it actually work. Okay. So before we do any of this, I actually forgot something very important. Sorry about that, which is the ragdoll system. So there's this really good ragdoll system, which I'll show you right now. Okay, so here it is. The link is in the description. It's called Perfect R6 Ragdoll, and here's a little preview. It's really cool. It works perfectly, and it's so easy to use. It just has an is ragdoll bool value inside of the player, and it's pretty cool. So you click on the Roblox model over here, and you get it. You press get model, and then you should have it in your inventory now. And now I'll show you how to actually use it. Okay, so here's how you can use it. You will go here, and you're gonna go to the toolbox, and we're gonna click on inventory, and then you click on Perfect R6 Ragdoll. Okay, now it's going to say that it has 2 scripts. Press OK, and now you will take both of these, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it and we're gonna put it inside of starter character scripts. Okay, now I think this should be fine, and I think it should work. So if I play the game, I should have an is ragdoll value inside of the player. Okay, so let's see. I just need this to load, and workspace, and as you can see, we should have an is ragdoll value. And if you set it from the client right now, it's not going to do much, but if I do it here, is ragdoll true? As you can see, the player does ragdoll, and it's pretty cool. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to wait for this to load first. I don't know why my studio is this slow. Okay, so we're gonna enter the script called 2, and we will need 2 sounds: an explosion sound and a pull sound. So when you find your sound IDs, you can just set them here, and make sure that you rename your sounds like I did, and make sure to have them inside of the module script named 2. Okay, so now that we have our 2 sounds, an explosion sound and a pull sound, we're gonna use them. Okay, so now we can start scripting the actual attack. So what we need to do is, after setting the attack debounces and player.isAttacking.value equals true, we need to get the player's character. So local character equals player.character. And what we need to do is to check if the player's health is greater than 0 and all that. But before we do that, I want to make sure that I am doing that in here. Okay, I am not. So I'll do that later. So we're not going to have to worry about checking if the player has enough health and all that in this script, because we're going to do that later. So we need to get the nearest player. So local nearest player, that's going to be equal to 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to loop through all of the players in the game. So we're going to get the players service, local players equals game. We'll get service players. And what we're going to do is for underscore comma v in players colon get players do. And what we're going to do is local other character, so the other player's character equals, and we're going to set it to v.character. Now we're going to do local other character humanoid root part equals other character find first child humanoid root part. Now we're going to check if it is there, but before that we also need a humanoid, so local humanoid equals other character find first child humanoid. Now we need to check if the other character is there, so if other character equals nil, then continue. And after that we're going to check if other character humanoid root part equals okay, this is too long. Let's just set it to other humanoid root part. So, and other humanoid. Okay, so if other humanoid root part equals nil, or other humanoid equals nil, then continue again. But now we need to copy this and we need to put it here. Okay, and here's how it works. So if the other character is equal to nil, so if we did not find it, then we'll continue and move on to the next player. And then we try to find the humanoid root part and the humanoid. And if it is not there, then we continue and we move on to the next player. And before that, we need to check if the .name equals player .name, then also continue. We can actually just do that here. Or v.name equals player .name. Now you can just get rid of that. Okay, so now what we can do is now that we have the humanoid and the humanoid root part, we can get. Here's what I'm trying to do. I need to explain this first. So we need to check if this other player is within the player that's trying to attack field of view. So the way we're going to do that is using the dot product. So here's how it's going to be. We're going to do local player to character equals, and we're going to do brackets character dot humanoid root part dot position. Or actually we can just create references for that in here. So local humanoid root part equals character dot humanoid root part, and local humanoid equals character dot humanoid. Okay, so in here we're gonna do a humanoid root part dot position, and we're gonna subtract other humanoid root part dot position. Now we will use dot unit, and then we'll get the look vector of the player. So local player look vector equals, and this is going to be humanoid root part dot cframe dot look vector. Now we need to use vector 3 colon dot. So we're going to do local dot product equals, and we're just going to do player to character colon dot, and we're gonna use the dot products of player to character and player look. So now that we have the dot product, we're gonna check if the other humanoid's health is greater than 0, which we will do here, or other humanoid dot health is greater equals 0, then continue. So now we don't need to check that. So here's what we need to do. We need to check if, and we'll just use parentheses again, and we're going to do if humanoid root part dot position minus other humanoid root part dot position dot magnitude. So is less or equal than 10. So 10 studs is going to be the max distance between you and the player trying to attack, and the dot product. And the dot product is less or equal to 0.3. So if he is within the field of view, you can mess around with this 0.3 later. And now we need to check. Yeah, that's pretty much all we need to do here. Now, if we meet all of these conditions, then we're going to do local nearest player. We're going to do nearest player, not local nearest player, and we're going to set it to V. Okay, so then we're going to break all of this. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is to play the pull animation. So local pull animation equals, and character humanoid dot animator on load animation, and we're going to do script dot pull animation. And then we need to play the pull animation. So pull animation colon play. And then we need to create the aura. So local aura equals script dot aura particle colon clone. Sorry, not aura particle colon clone. It should be the aura particle dot attachment colon clone. And then we need to do aura dot parent equals humanoid root part. And now what we need to do is task dot delay 1 comma function, and we'll just loop through the aura or underscore comma v in aura colon get descendants to v dot enabled equals false. And we also cannot check if v dot class name is not equal to particle emitter. Then continue, and then after doing that we need to wait 1 second and aura colon destroy. Okay, so now we need to copy this and paste it here and make sure that we enable it this time. And now we could actually, we don't need to do anything here. We can just enable it. Okay, I think this is fine. Or we could have a task.delay 1 comma function, and we're going to do v.enabled equals false. And then in here, in this task.delay, we can just destroy the aura, which I think should work, but we don't even need it right now. So here's what we're going to do. We will do pull animation on get marker reach signal pull sound, and we need to get the pull sound. So local pull sound equals script.pull sound colon clone. We're going to do pull sound dot parent equals the character's humanoid root part, or we can just do humanoid root part. Now we need to do pull sound colon play, and then we need to do pull animation colon get marker reached signal explosion. And here is when a lot of stuff is going to happen. First of all, we need to check if the nearest player is not equal to nil. So if the nearest player equals nil, then we're going to return. Now we need to make sure that the other character is not equal to nil too. So we need to get the other character. So local nearest character. And in here, we need to set the nearest character to v.character. Now in here, all we need to do is to ragdoll the other character. So nearest character dot is ragdoll dot value equals true. And now all we need to do is to get the explosion. So local explosion equals script dot attachment dot explosion particle dot attachment colon clone, and same thing that we did for the aura. But right now all we need to do is explosion dot parent equals the other character, the nearest character dot humanoid root part. And now what we need to do is loop through that explosion for underscore comma v in explosion colon get descendants do, if vcolon is a particle emitter, or actually if v.class name equals particle emitter, then continue. This actually should be if it is not equal particle emitter, then continue. Else we're going to do vcolon emit, and how much we need to emit it is vcolon get attribute emit count. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the explosion sound this time. So local explosion sound equals script.explosion sound clone. Now explosion sound dot parent is going to be equal to the character to the humanoid root part, and explosion sound play. And now we need to fire a ton of events, like 3 of them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the events folder, and we're going to have a couple of events. The first one is going to be called create creator. The second one is going to be called, by the way, the remote events, not events. The second one is going to be called shake camera. Now, here's where stuff is going to get a little confusing, because we're going to have to make the shake creator, the create creator module, but that's going to be for later. So for now, we're going to just add a comment, and we're going to call it remotes. But after that, all we need to do is task.delay like 2 seconds function, and all we need to do is to check if the nearest player is still there, and nearest character then, and nearest player dot character then. What we need to do is nearest character dot is ragdoll dot value equals false, sorry. And now we can just do explosion destroy, and we can also do explosion sound destroy, and I think that's all we need to do here. But if I remember correctly, we did not destroy the aura particle. So task.delay 2 seconds function, we're gonna do aura destroy. Okay, so now we're gonna do the create creator function, which is going to be a little complicated to make, but here's how it's gonna work. So I'm going to go to modules in character client, and I'm going to add a module script, and I'm going to call it creator, or just creator like that, or creators, anything you want. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to call it creator module. Okay, I can't come up with a good name for this. I'm just going to leave it as creator module. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. I'll show you the dev forum post that I have based this off. I have to find it first. Okay, so there's this dev forum post that's really useful. I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to learn more about it. And it talks about the unit circle and stuff. And it has these useful functions, get X, Y, and Z positions, and how they managed to make this. And we're going to be using that, the math in this, to make the creator module. So yeah, if you want to check it out, which I recommend you do, you should check out the link in the description. Okay, so here's what we need to do here. We need to go to the workspace, and we're going to have a folder, and we'll call it core objects, and we'll put a folder inside it, and it's going to be called rocks, or creator rocks. Okay, and now I think that's all we need to do in the workspace. And what we need to do here is get replicated storage, tween service, and also the events folder, local events equals replicated storage for child events. And now what we need to do is get the creator rocks. So local creator rocks equals workspace for child core objects, colon wait for child creator rocks. Okay, so now we need to type in local full circle equals, or let's just do a local circle equals math.py. We're gonna multiply that by 2, and local RNG equals random.new. And now the next thing we need to do is to I think we need to create a function called get x and z positions, which I got from the devforum post, which you can copy and paste, but it's pretty simple. You can just look at it from here and write it. So it takes a radius and an angle, and it returns the x and z, the correct x and z for where we should be positioning our creator rock. Okay, so now the main function module.create creator, and that's going to take the origin position and the amount of rocks, and then the radius, and then the duration, and then the size multiplier. Okay, now we need to create an ignore list. Local ignore list equals an empty table, and we will include the creator rocks in it. And now we need to check if the size multiplier equals 0, then size multiplier equals 1 by default. And I'm actually going to put this before anything. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through the players colon get players, and we get the character of this player, and then we check if the character is there, and we add them to this ignore list table that we have over here. Okay, now that we have the ignore list, we can create some raycast params. So local ray params equals and raycast params.new. Now ray params dot filter descendant instances equals and ignore list, and then we're going to do ray params dot filter type equals enum dot raycast filter type dot exclude. Now in here what we're doing is basically because we'll have a raycast, we're telling it to not to ignore the already existing creator rocks and the all of the players' characters in the game. Okay, so now we need to loop through. I'm gonna create a for loop. For I equals, we're gonna start from 1 all the way up to the amount of rocks that we want to have do. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the angle. So local angle equals I multiplied by circle divided by the amount of rocks that we have, and then local x comma z equals get x z positions, and we're going to give it the radius and the angle. And then we need to create a rock size, local rock size multiplier equals, and we're going to set it to be RNG colon next number, and it's going to be a number anywhere between 1 and 1.6 or something like that. And then we need to create to get the rock size. So the rock size is going to be vector3.new, and it's going to be a pretty long vector. It's going to be parentheses RNG colon next number, anything from 2 to 4, and we're going to multiply that by the rock size multiplier, and we're going to multiply that outside of the parentheses, not these parentheses, in these parentheses. We're going to multiply that by the rock size multiplier. Actually, I think we can do that at the end. We don't need to do it here. So we can just get rid of these parentheses, and now you can just copy this and paste it in 3 times. So 1, comma, and another one. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do now. We need to get the original position, but without the y-axis. So local origin position without y equals vector3 dot new origin position dot x comma 0 comma origin position dot z. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to do local xz position equals, and we're gonna do cframe.new origin position without the y, and we're gonna multiply that by cframe.new x comma 0 comma z, and then we can do dot position at the end, convert all that c-frame into a position. Now we need to do local ray result equals, and we're going to set it to workspace colon raycast. Now the raycast is going to start from xz position, and we're going to add vector3.new 0 comma, and we can just do 10 comma 0. And then we can have a direction of vector3.new. Actually, we can have the direction in here. Local direction, local array, local down direction equals vector3.new 0 comma minus 100 comma 0. And in here we can do down direction. And now we can do ray params. Okay, so now we need to create the rock itself. Okay, so first of all, we need to check if raycast result, if ray result, then. And what we need to do is local rock equals instance.new part. Now we're gonna do rock dot size equals rock size. Oh, I forgot to multiply this entire vector by the size multiplier, not the rock size multiplier. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to create the rock. Okay, so the rock size is going to be rock size. Now the rock dot material equals ray result dot material. That takes the material of whatever is under, of whatever ground it is on, and rock dot color equals, and we're gonna do raycast ray result dot instance dot color, and now we can do rock dot anchored equals true, and rock dot can collide equals false, or true. Actually, you could want them to collide with the rocks. If you don't, you can just set it to false. Now we can do rock dot parent equals the creator rocks. Okay, so now all I need to do is local final rock position. So we need a final rock position and a final rock C-frame. So let's do that. So local final rock position, local final rock position is going to be parentheses cframe.new original position without y, of course. I'm going to multiply that by cframe.new and x comma ray result dot position dot y, and we will I think that's all we need, and then the z, and then dot position at the very end. And now we can do local final rock C-frame, and that's going to be equal to cframe.new and final rock position and origin position without y, and then we're going to multiply all that by cframe.angles and math.rad, and this is going to be pretty long to type. RNG colon next integer from minus 60 to 60. Now you just need to copy all of this, comma, do it here, and comma, and do it here, and it should look something like this. And yeah, okay. So now that we have the final rock C-frame, we can set the rock dot position to be final rock position, and then I think we should do minus vector3 dot new 0 comma minus, oh, let's do plus vector3.new to make it less confusing. 0, comma minus 8, comma 0. And now what we need to do is to tween it. So tween service on create rock, comma tween info.new 0.1, comma enum.isInstall.sign, comma cframe equals final rock cframe, colon play. And then we need to add a delay. So task.delay. Now, if you want your rocks to disappear in a sick way, where each rock disappears first, and then followed by the other one, you can set the delay to be the duration plus the index divided by 10. Or you could divide it by the amount of rocks. And you could divide that amount of rocks by a certain number to make it more precise. I'm going to multiply it by 0.9 to make it less. I think it's good. Okay. So then we can add a function here, and then we can create a nice tween. So tween service colon create the rock, and tween info.new 0.3, comma enum.isInstall.sign, comma enum.isInDirection.out. Now that I think about it, I forgot to specify the isIn direction in here, enum.isInDirection.out, and then comma, and in here we're gonna type position equals final rock position plus vector3.new 0, comma minus 8, comma 0, colon play. And now we can just do task.wait, maybe like 3 seconds, and rock colon destroy. Okay, so I think could wait way less actually, something like 0.5. And yeah, now we need to connect an event to this. So function module.init, and what we're gonna do is events.createCreator.onServer event colon connect, and we're just going to connect it to module.createCreator. Make sure to type it like this. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for our creator module. Now we need to get our camera shake. So here's what I'm going to do. There is a really useful module called CameraShaker, Easy Camera Shake by Slate Nick, which I'll show you right now. And it's this. It's really, really useful, and I think you should check it out. And here's what you need to do. You gotta click on the module Creator Hub Store, and then you get it. So press get model, and then you will just have to drag it in. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so here we are in Studio. I'm going to go to the inventory, and I'm going to look up Easy Camera Shake, or just Easy Camera, or just Camera. If I can find it, CameraShaker. Okay, so it's called CameraShaker. Click on it, and then you want to put it in the let's just put it in the modules. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to scripts, and I think what I want to do is I want to connect the event to it. So in the scripts folder, I'm going to add a local script, and I'm going to call it events, or let's call it simple events, because it's only going to handle the very simple events. And here's what we're going to do here. We're going to get replicated storage equals game get service replicated storage. We need to get local players equals game get service players, and then we need to get the events folder, local events equals replicated storage for child events. And in here I'm going to do events.camera.shakeCamera.onClient event connect function. And I did something dumb. Now that I think about it, this local script should be a module. Sorry about the fact that I made a lot of mistakes. It's just that I've been recording for quite a while now, and I'm making some mistakes. So yeah, we will create a module inside of the controllers, and I'm going to call it simple events controller, and the click attack should be named click attacks controller, or basic attacks controller, basic attack controller, and simple events controller, or simple event controller. I think that's cleaner. Okay, so we're gonna enter simple event controller, and in here I'm going to have module.modules equals an empty table, and I'm going to need to copy everything that I put here, and I'm going to put it here, and then I'm going to get the shake camera thing. And now what we need to do is to make it actually work. So we're gonna have a variable local camera shake, and it's going to be set to nil. And we also need the camera shaker, and we also need the creator module, and they're all going to be set to nil for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do camera shake. So camera shake, not shaker, colon shake, and then that's going to take the camera shaker dot presets square brackets preset, and in here we're gonna send the preset, and now we need to have a function module .init, and in here we're gonna do the creator module is going to be equal to module.modules.creator module, and camera shaker equals module.modules.camera shaker, and camera shake is going to be equal to camera shaker dot new, and I'm just going to copy whatever Slitnik typed, and I'll just do that. Okay, shake C frame, and now we just need to do camera, which we need to get the camera. So local camera equals workspace.current camera. We're going to do camera.cframe equals, and it should be equal to the camera.cframe multiplied by the shake cframe. Okay, so now we need to do something more in here. So what I'm gonna have to do is to start the camera shake. So camera shake, not camera shaker, colon start. Oh no, it's colon start. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to connect the event on the creator module. I want to connect it to the module.createCreator, and I want to do that in the simple events folder module. So I'm going to go back to simple events controller, and I'm going to do events dot let's just paste that in, dot create creator dot on server event colon connect, and we're going to connect it to creator module dot, and we're going to connect it to creator module dot create creator. Okay, so now we need to create functions for this. Local function shake camera, and that's going to be taking the preset and just paste that in. Now local, I think that's all we need. Okay, now we're gonna copy that, paste it here, and we will connect it to the shake camera event. Now we need to copy the events.createCreator and paste that in there. And now you can just get rid of all of this, and we have our module set up. Now we need to actually just call them. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna enter 2, the second attack, and I'm going to go to the remotes comment. I'm going to delete it because we don't need it anymore, and I'm going to fire the events. So the first one is going to be events, replicator source events create creator, fire all clients, and it's going to take the nearest character humanoid root part position as the origin, and I'm going to spawn 15 rocks and a radius of 12, and I forgot what this was, a duration of 5 seconds. And actually the duration, let me just double check something real quick. Creator module, we have the radius, then the duration, so the duration is last. Okay, that makes sense. So we create a first creator, and if we want to, this is optional, we can have another smaller creator around it, but this time it's going to have 8 rocks with a radius of 5 and a size multiplier of 0.5, so the rocks are going to be smaller. Now we're going to have another event, and this time it's going to be the shake camera event, and we're going to send the player and a bump event. Now I'm going to test this to see if it works. Okay guys, so I found a couple of errors. Now the first one is that we are requiring some modules that we don't want to require, and in order to fix that you need to select both of these modules inside of the CameraShaker module and add an attribute to them called ignore. It can be a string, so just click add attribute here and call it ignore, and then just make sure it's a string or anything really. Now you can go to character client and you can just check or descendant get attribute ignore, then we continue. And now you can go back to simple event controller, and here it should be on client event, not on server event. Now we can just get rid of this. I was just testing something, and now I'll see if it works. I also found out that I made a typo right here. This is not supposed to be position, it should be position. Now I'm going to retest the game and see if it works. Okay, so this actually works and it looks really nice. I really like how this turned out. So if I just go and attack this player, as you can see, my camera shakes and the rocks pop out of the ground and he ragdolls, and now the rocks disappear in a smooth way. And the other player can also do the same thing. If he's behind him, it will still work. And if he is not within his field of view, so if he's right here, okay, that still works for some reason. We just have to lower that number, but I want to know if it's going to work if I am not looking at him at all, and I do that. Okay, good. Okay, so now we need to make it actually damage the player, and we also need to make sure that the other player cannot punch us or anything like that while he is ragdolled. So let's do that. So here's how we're going to do that. We will go to character handler and we'll scroll down here, and here's what we need to do. We need to make sure if player character dot health player dot values, okay, so we need to check, we need to do local character equals player dot character, and now we need to check if player local humanoid, let's just do local humanoid equals player find for equals character find first child humanoid. Now we're gonna do local humanoid root part equals character find first child humanoid root part. Now in here we're gonna do if character equals nil, then return false, and we're also going to do if humanoid equals nil, or humanoid root part equals nil, or humanoid dot health is greater or equal than 0. Oh no, sorry, is equal to 0, then return false. And after all that, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna check if, or I'm going to add another or character, find first child, no, or character dot is ragdoll dot value equals true, then we return false, and else we will not return false. Okay, same thing for the punch in. We're gonna go back to basic attacks handler, and we need to make sure that whenever we want to punch, we need to make sure that they are not ragdolled. So we're gonna do in here where we do, or if human equals nil, we're gonna do or character dot is ragdoll equals true. Then we return. Now we're gonna go back here to character handler, and we need to make sure that it's equal. Okay, I think this should work, but before I test it, I'm going to go here and make sure that I'm damaging the other player. So I'm gonna have the variable right here, local attack damage equals something like 15 health, and in here, when we do the explosion, I'm going to do nearest character dot humanoid dot health minus equals or equals math dot max 0 and nearest character dot humanoid dot health minus damage, attack damage. Okay, so now I will test this to see if it works. Okay, so if I go ahead and try it out, by the way, you can't hear a sound, but there is a sound. I'm going to get close and do that, and as you can see, it does work. Let's do it again, and let's make sure we can't punch until we get up. Okay, I'm going to try to ragdoll this player, and then we try to punch. Okay, I wasn't able to punch. Was I able to punch while ragdolled? I don't think I had the chance to test. Okay, I was not. Okay, good. Yeah, so I think this is going to be it for today's tutorial. If this helped, make sure to subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!